Our America with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Our first order of business is public comment, but before we go into that, I would just like to make a comment, and on behalf of, I'm sure all of us here are, with the incidents that happened in Brussels, I'm sure all our prayers are with the families of those who lost family members there. So just want to, and I'm sure everyone here shares our deep sympathies for all those folks. With that, I'll now open public comment. Yes.
I guess I'll start. Rod Parley.
Ryan, you want to come up to the mic, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Great. Rod Parley, Chairman of the Conservation Commission. I'd like to address the importance of the Open Space Preservation and Acquisition Committee and the lack of quorum that has existed now for probably close to 2 to 3 years. And I just want to remind everybody that if it wasn't for this great committee that's established by ordinance, we probably wouldn't have the Heritage Farm or the Land Trust, for that matter. So I know you have a full plate tonight. I would just encourage you to address that ordinance and look for some new bodies on the board.
Before you go.
Sure.
I mean, you're here as an advocate, so I'm going to give you a chance to sell it. Could you, in like a minute or two, just give the folks listening an idea of what all you all do?
Okay. Well, it's established by ordinance, and as far as the makeup is made up of, I believe it's 5 members at large, and there's 2 members that are consistently members of the Conservation Commission and the Planning and Zoning Commission. And it's usually Arlene and I, the folks that are. And
some of the issues that you go over?
We range from farming issues, open space preservation. We have prioritized parcels in town. We did a great parcel evaluation. It's been pretty productive, and all you have to do is read the minutes of the past 5 or 6 years. Well, lately it's been rather stagnant, and I'd just like to encourage the Selectmen to jumpstart an open space initiative, because we're losing.
I'm pumping you because I'm trying to get all this here on tape, so folks will understand that.
I could jump in if you'd like.
Sure, if you want to add to it, sure.
Embellish that, because
Okay, thank you.
I served on it. Thank you for being here, Rod. I served on it for a number of years, including as its chairman, and that it really is an important board. One of the most important roles that it performs is to provide an advisory opinion to planning and zoning when there is a subdivision on the issue of whether open space should be set aside or a fee in lieu of open space should be requested. And so the board takes a very close look at the subdivision, and it looks at whether there are open space parcels nearby that open space possibly could connect to, or if there are potential connections to make, or if the subdivision does not, if it's totally isolated, then the board would recommend that a fee be given instead, which goes into the town's open space fund to be used for other open space acquisitions. So that's a really important function. And the board actually took the lead on, and is, I think, currently working on having the town become eligible under the Community Farms Preservation Program. There are a number of steps that have to be taken. So Rod talked about the parcel prioritization. That was one of those steps, which requires a very close look. So this is a board that has some important roles to play. It's fairly low profile, but it really does need to be peopled. So I do hope that somehow we could step up our recruiting efforts to get people on the board.
Thanks for your input.
You're welcome.
So everybody heard that. So if you're interested, you contact our office, and we will more than happy to bring you in and hopefully recruit you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Oh, I'm going to make you come up with crutches, okay.
Could have taken the microphone.
I can
to
take the
you.
mic over there if...
It's fine. Moving is good.
Oh, okay. I'm not going to get blamed for making you come up on crutches.
No, no.
Thank you.
Not at all.
Okay.
So I would like to present to the board just some information about a new group that's forming in Bolton, and we are calling ourselves Bike Walk Bolton. And I'd first like to just talk about quickly our mission. Bike Walk Bolton is a volunteer organization made up of Bolton residents whose mission is to advocate for the expansion of safe, practical, and accessible means of moving about our community for pedestrians, cyclists, and the handicapped. I am part of that group right now. In order to execute our mission, we strive to expand our membership within the community and make ourselves a valuable resource to you all, the Board of Selectmen of the town of Bolton. So our mission statement, we're an organization and we see the following values as being central to what we do, which is safety, health, and growth. And we have the following goals. We'd like to educate Bolton residents of all ages about bike pedestrian-related issues. We'd like to advocate for the development of and use of multi-use trail infrastructure. And we would like to submit an application to be a bike-friendly community and obtain that status for the town of Bolton. To obtain approval, we would need your support doing that. We will work towards completion of an application by meeting the criteria that is established by the Bike Federation of America for a bike-friendly community. It's a long process for this, but we are committed to help make that happen. And the benefits of that include safety for cyclists and pedestrians. It's exercise, health, economic development. There's a lot of benefits of obtaining this status, and we know that a town of Simsbury in Connecticut has obtained that status, and they have a lot of information on the Simsbury town website about some of the benefits. Even the high school students thrilled about the fact that they can ride their bikes from the high school to the ice cream shop downtown. And, you know, we have an ice cream shop in Bolton at the fish farm. We have a number of details about our goals on this form, and I won't read all of those to you, but I'll give you this sheet so you can see some of the ideas that we have, and some other people will be discussing some of our initial ideas, which we're very excited about. I also wanted to thank you for the submission of the community connectivity applications, and I wanted to reiterate I've been living off of Route 44 for 27 years, and I would love to be a volunteer if there's any need for a town person to represent that area of Bolton. I biked, walked, ran, and been a motorist on that Route 44 corridor for 27 years, so I have a lot of experience about some of the challenges of that area, the need for connectivity, and a lot of ideas about how that could be improved. So I want, for the record, to say Sylvia Ownpu, 48 Stonehenge Lane, would love to volunteer for that. Also, I know that part of our group's purpose is to understand what other advocacy groups are doing in the state of Connecticut around bicycling. And there are a lot of them, and we've made contact with a number of them, and we will be meeting with Bike Mansfield on Thursday of this week. It's a group that's been going for 2 years. They work very closely with their town people. They are working on bike safety infrastructure. They're now establishing the hollow-to-hollow bike path that's going to connect Mansfield Hollow with some other hollow in their town. Is a great resource for their townspeople. They also offer events. They have 2 bicycle movies being offered to the town. They posted our Tales for the Trails on their website, and we are meeting with them to learn and understand about what they're doing. They're applying for a 501c status now after 2 years of activity, and we hope to be able to collaborate on some of our events together. And I know that you have received letters of support for the Next Gen 44 and the Route 44 extension out to Yukon from the Mansfield group and other local towns, and I'm very excited that there are other towns along this route that are really stepping up to advocate for that, and I'm very glad that Bolton is doing the same. So that is all. I have these, just some information for all of you. Maybe pass them around.
Were those the ones that were emailed out?
This
Oh, it's
one-
not,
This
okay.
is not.
The letter, it was emailed, this is not emailed.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. We're trying not to.
Here, wait a minute.
I'll just keep the top version.
Top version have notes on it, anything.
No, this is what I wanted to.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
And you got one? Oh, okay. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address? Yes, I will. Yep.
I'm Jim Adams from 48 Stonehenge Lane. I've got a letter that is from the Bike Walk Bolton Trail Advocates, what I'd like to present to the board. Many thanks to the Bolton Board of Selectmen, the Administrative Officer, and the Trail Subcommittee for supporting and managing the current rail-to-trail infrastructure in Bolton. It is such a valuable resource for Bolton residents and others in nearby towns. We are also grateful for the support Bolton provided for the development of the off-road trail that is currently being constructed between Manchester and Bolton. This safe multi-use trail will provide connectivity between towns for bike commuting and recreation with access to Case Mountain Trail System, Fraser Park, and much more, as well as many of the economic development opportunities in Bolton. We are also grateful that the Board of Selectmen took the initiative to use the remaining funds from a grant initially directed towards the trail design between Bolton and Manchester to hire BSC to study a multi-use trail along Route 44. The report provides a detailed review and justification for the choices made in the current design. We hope that our Tales from the Trails Forum in February, which was attended by over 100 citizens, contributed to Bolton's residents' understanding of the benefits of this type of infrastructure. To continue this momentum, we support your decision to hire BSC to complete the survey of the Route 44 corridor extension. This was with the remaining $25,000 of the grant funds. With DOT actively reviewing solutions for connecting the current rail trail at Bolton Notch to Bolton Notch Plaza, which is also known as the missing link, our readiness to complete the Route 44 extension will help the DOT move forward with this critical connection. We understand that if communities are ready for these type of infrastructure development, they are much more likely to be awarded grants to allow completion. For example, Andover has already contacted the DEEP to inquire about granting opportunities and presented a detailed plan for improved access to their section of the Hop River Trail. With the current construction of the Manchester to Bolton off-road trail, the timing is right for Bolton to make these same efforts. We recognize that you have much more than trail development to consider for the town of Bolton. You're a very busy bunch of folks. We respectfully request that you use our group of dedicated volunteers as a resource to promote the above-mentioned initiatives, as well as any present or future projects to increase connectivity and improve bicycle and pedestrian use of roads in Bolton through the development of bike pedestrian trails. We are willing to research and apply for any grants that may become available, a time-consuming project which may be taxing for our town staff. There are many opportunities for trail grants at this time, and it would be great for Bolton to be able to take advantage of these opportunities. This would be in accordance with the goals of the Vibrant Community Initiative Bolton Center Study, which was completed in July 2013, and the Bolton 2015 Plan of Conservation and Development, both of which show that the people of Bolton would like to see a community that is more connected and safer for cyclists and pedestrians. And it is signed sincerely by approximately 12 members of, that are currently trail advocates for Bike Walk Bolton. Do they have copies of this already?
Yes, they were emailed to all of us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's a copy that is in your
It's
packet.
also in the packet. Barbara?
As a retired teacher, my usual audience is second and fifth grade, so I'm not really good at this. But I wanted to...
Address, could you identify yourself?
Volpe Road, Barbara Amodio, on 50 Volpe Road. So what I just want to tell you some of the things that we've already accomplished. As you know, the Tales from the Trails was attended by over 100 people. And I think we accomplished our mission, and Craig Delapenna shared the things that he was meant to share. We'll be on the CBC Community Voice channel on these dates. This I'm good at because I was a teacher, so I pass things out. So some other things that we have been working on. Again, first of all, as a recreational trail user, from having ridden from Maine to North Carolina, I noticed that there's never a kiosk that I wouldn't stop by and look at and read what's going on in the towns. And then again, as a teacher, I noticed that our bulletin boards had nothing on them. So I took it upon myself to kind of have a bulletin board. This is the one that I posted at the Notch. So it's an opportunity for us to share some of the treasures that we have in Bolton. These are the trains passing through. They run, I got them off the Everything Bolton Facebook page, and Squaw Cave, and the map, and some community education about some bicycling laws. And then at Steele's Crossing, I have some information about the Heritage Farm when Mr. Sumner was sitting on the steps, and there's a little blurb with it. The History of Bolton by Hans DePold, a little map that shows where we're located, our town seal, and some bicycle education. And also, I had noticed on the Farmington Trail that when I stopped by one of them, it told me what the distance was to a couple of restaurants, which is really good when you're bicycling a long way. So I made a sign that says hungry, and it tells how far to Georgina's and J.O. Cray and Subway. So that is on the Steele's bulletin board. These are not good copies, but you can have these too if you want. Another thing.
We'll just add that to the record, okay?
Yeah, okay. Those are my best copies. The other thing that we've started is a Facebook page called Bike Walk Bolton. If you go to the search box, when you go on Facebook, you type in Bike Walk Bolton, you'll come to a page that looks something like this. And on that page, we share bicycle safety tips, anything that we hear about new laws affecting bikes and pedestrians. So anyone is welcome to join. If you put in a request, we'll just add you to it, and anyone can add information to it. So that's another way that we're trying to keep the town informed. And then to help keep ourselves informed, as Sylvia said, we're going to visit with the Mansfield Bike Group. And we also had this plan for Health Communities Toolkit workshop that a few of us are going to be attending on April 20th. So we're trying to keep ourselves informed too. And that's the work that we've done so far.
You've been busy.
And they were just at Planning and Zoning to give a presentation.
Not the bike walk group, but.
No, the Eastern Highlands Health District.
The
Yes.
district
I saw-
was.
Yeah. So,
I believe the consensus is that Bolton Planning and Zoning will also be there for the April 20th.
Oh, good.
That was last week. One more person for public comment. Arlene Fiano, 6 Bayberry Road here in town. One more thing that the group is going to do to try and raise some awareness and participation is to be part of the Memorial Day Parade. They have spoken to the prices, and they think it's a great idea. In past years, we've had decorated bicycles, and community has been part of the parade in that way. So it's in the planning stages. We're working on having this be a multi-generational addition to the Memorial Day Parade. Any information will be posted on the new Facebook page, and as we coordinate more and learn more, we will keep you informed.
Thank you. Wait,
Are you a cyclist? I am. Why don't you go ahead?
you moved too fast. I couldn't respond quick enough.
Kim Welch, 51 Vernon Road. Yeah, to continue the energy, I would just encourage the cycling and pedestrian energy. I would just encourage all of you to help us bring the rural back to Bolton. I think some of these ideas and initiatives will help us bring the rural back to Route 44 that some of us that live out there are missing right now. Putting pedestrian access onto that area would make a huge difference to those of us that are out there. So I would just encourage you all to let these folks and us help you bring the rural back to that area of town and help us connect to this area of town more easily. That's it.
Thank you. Richard, I believe floor is yours.
Ditto for all these guys. Yeah, same here.
Okay.
I'm on the Connecticut Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Board, and I totally support all this great initiative. Just wanted to say that.
Richard Treat, 8 Lyman Road. You cyclists were inspiring, and the town is ready for your efforts. The town continues to improve in every way. I was here a month ago urging each of you to go see the work at the barn, the Heritage Farm barn. I hope some of you made it. Mike, I'm glad you made it. It's inspiring to me. When I first got on the farm, at the beginning of volunteer efforts, it was a landfill in its infancy. And look at it today. And there was a group formed, a volunteer group, that in asking people around town what stuck in their mind about the farm, everyone said it was the barn. The barn is the iconic thing that people think of when they're thinking of that place. And I took my own advice and went back several times in the past month. And if you've been there in the last week or two, you see the whole wall that faces us that had substantial burn damage has been replaced. It's got a beautiful red color. It's tongue and groove. It's tongue and groove cedar, so it. Sandy is chairwoman of the Heritage Farm Commission, knows about this already. Cedar doesn't rot, not because it's treated, but because it grows pretty much rot-proof. And as I learned since I was here last month, that as a result of the barn damage work, the whole wall that faces us has been resided. The whole front wall on a different project, and its different permutations there. It's not just all barn siding, but the whole front wall has been gone through. It's not quite finished yet, but it will be finished soon. The northern wall is, as it was, in need of attention. The eastern wall, the peak is going to be, get at least paint, but I think cedar as well, as part of the burn attention, which brought this lightning bolt to me, and that is the barn is about 2/3 refinished on the outside. This is the icon that the people of Bolton think of when they think of this beautiful place, this historic place, this place for wildlife, this place for farming, this place for recreation. And I'm here tonight to ask you, the Board of Selectmen, to do whatever you have to do to find the money to finish the siding and painting for the 1/3 of the barn that needs it. I'm not going to pretend to advise you about money, but I do believe, without knowing what the cost would be, I don't believe the cost would be huge. And this place deserves to be finished, at least on the outside, so people can revel in the icon that we own and that we get a chance to enjoy in so many ways, including visually. one thing I can say about money is, well, no, let me talk about what I'm asking of you. I'm asking that you all do whatever you can do with the assembled brain power that's here, and Sandy and Joyce together have a fabulous record with regard to grants. But I'm actually hoping that we can just do this. I'm hoping the sum is reasonable. And I'm hoping that it can be done by Heritage Weekend in late September. So at that weekend, we can celebrate this giant step forward to a building that has come so far. It's been regraded, so water goes away. There's big drainage underneath that keeps water from being down low in the barn. The brick foundation has been repointed. The timbers at the edge that were rotted have been replaced. The whole roof has been redone. The cupola has been rebuilt new. It is weatherproof. It is pigeon-proof, and it's just come so far, and we're so close to having something that shows the way it should. And I ask of you to put your shoulder to this, and I don't ask. I have one other thing to say. I'm not just saying find the money. I'm saying when you're looking for the money, I believe there's some private money to be had. I'm not going to say any more about that, but I think some money could be applied to this not from Bolton sources. So I ask each of you to do everything in your power to make this happen. I want the celebration at Heritage Weekend this year to include this fabulous thing. It would be a palpable step forward. It's something that fits with the plan of development. It fits with the center study. It is my hope that you all will make this happen. Thank you very much.
Okay.
That's,
I'd
yeah.
like to just comment
Give
on
them some
that.
good news.
Yeah, we had a construction meeting at the barn this morning, and none of us were blown away, despite the fact that Mother Nature tried really hard. There were actually four things that we talked about, and we've asked the contractor to come back with. Number one is a cost to replace the entire east side. You're correct that the east side above basically the third story level from the eaves up will be replaced as part of the fire damage. We've asked him to give us a price to replace the entire wall. That side is not yet pigeon-proof. We actually saw a pigeon try to come in today. But he's going to price replacing that siding and painting that wall, that entire wall, not just eaves up. We already have a price on that. We also asked him to price painting the north side. There are some boards that need to be replaced there, but we believe we can rescue some from the east side to fix there. So that's two things. South side, east side replacement and painting, north side painting. We also talked to him about the door on the west side, which was hit by the fire pretty badly. We've had to sister all the beams in that door, and his suggestion was that we remove some of the earth by that door and ramp it. And the collective group thought that that would be a very good location to put a ramp that would allow handicapped access, and we could provide that ramp by heading the ramp off to the north, out that door. So he's going to look at costing that and We need permission from the State Historic Preservation Office to put a backhoe in there without an archaeologist. However, we did get an archaeologist's opinion this afternoon that said there's nothing, in her opinion, there that would be worth spending the resources to have an archaeologist present. So if the State Historic Preservation Office agrees with that, we'll get the town crew in there, have them dig that out, have the contractor replace a damaged beam there, and then move forward with that project with the ramp to be built by town employees at some point between now and then, probably not until after the other work is done. And the fourth thing we asked them to do was to look at painting the building we call the milk shed. Most of the work on the milk shed is done, and they actually took down the tar paper siding that had been on that building, and amazingly, what they found underneath was some really good condition siding. There are a couple of boards that need replacing, but again, we hope we can borrow that. So we've also asked him to look at what it would cost to paint that building while they're out there painting. And the fifth thing that I totally forgot was that the floor in not what was the actual milk room, but the shed next door, the cement floor has a very strange pitch to it. So we have to get a cement truck out there to pour a new base for the step that goes into what was the old milk shed. We'll have extra concrete on a minimum purchase requirement, so he's looking at what the labor cost would be to fix that pitched floor in the other half of that shed. So we're looking at credits in the current contract. We're looking at the funds that were approved by the town, the $200,000, to see where we are. And once we get the contractor's costs back, we'll be able to make an intelligent decision on what it is we want to prioritize and move forward.
And the doors.
Oh, that's right, and the doors to that milk shed area as well. John Butramovich and his building and grounds crew rebuilt them about 2 years ago now. And one of the options in the building contract, in the bid contract, was to replace those doors with some period doors as opposed to the texture 111 close the place up doors that were there now. So we're close. Laundry list, and we're working on it, Dick.
Well, thank you very much. I'm glad to hear that you're already moving this direction. And besides being weatherproof and pigeon-proof, the doors are a good way to expend some time and money, because it's got to be people-proof too in those hours of the day when it shouldn't, no one should have the idea that they can wander through that building. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So be assured that our minds were in the same direction.
Good. I'm not surprised.
All right. Now, I would like to, since we have a lot of bike people here, one of the issues you should be aware of that is occurring in state government is the administrative octopus of trying to grab funds to deal with extreme deficits that we are facing, are actually looking at projects that have been funded but not started. That includes bike trail projects. And there's been no official word, but when you have sniffers out there, you hear rumors that are sometimes disparaging. And I mention it because even though the plans are pretty much done for the little connector between Bolton and Manchester, those funds are just sitting there. And I wouldn't put it past a desperate administration logging onto those funds. I mentioned that if you're concerned about that being completed, more than one voice in support of that would help. That's all I have to say on that issue. The governor's office. And both.
Your legislature.
And your legislature, both your senator and representative. And in putting that into perspective, it really, I know you talked about future grants, so on and so forth. That is becoming exceedingly more difficult, even though the will may be there, but the fiscal situation and I hate to be a spoiler, but I am a realist out there and understand what's out there. It is exceedingly difficult. They're going to have extremely tough time just meeting their own obligations for maintaining just the highways and the trails that we currently have. But just keep that in mind. I think right now, for me, my concentration would be trying to keep them from grabbing those funds, and before we think of anything else, just completing that one section. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Greg Zalewski, 1020 and 1022 Boston Turnpike. Apparently I'm all by myself on this side of the room today.
That's okay, Greg.
A couple observations.
We're friendly anyway, so.
So far. A couple observations. There are apparently 2 good accidents on 44 this week. One went down 80 feet of my yard, which would have been the bike path. Another one was across the street next to the medical center, where the guy's mailbox was taken out and about another 30, 40 feet worth of his front yard. So it's still the safety issue. We keep trying to bring in more pedestrians. We say we're gonna, I've seen 2 different plans from in front of my house. One, they're gonna grade it down to the road level. Well, they're gonna need some kind of barrier. If they don't, because of the sewer system that's in there, you're still gonna need some kind of barrier. And whether it's a fence, it's gonna be something substantial to keep people from falling off the hill. I'm not looking forward to that, looking out at that every day. We're talking about connecting the 2 halves of Bolton. I haven't heard any discussion about connecting Town Hall to the other half of Bolton. I've heard connecting the 2 schools. I've heard connecting Manchester to the end of Bolton. Where's the continuity to bring the 2 halves of the town together that the bike people keep talking about, saying we're going to join the community? It's going down a lot of people's front yards, right up to their doorsteps almost. It's not safe. You look at what Hartford, lots of towns, they put in the bike paths, They went in, narrowed the roadway for the cars, put a paint line down, a couple bicycle symbols, and everyone called it good. Granted, that's not any safer than what we have now, but Route 44 is not the right direction to go, in my opinion. There's got to be another way around or something. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all for your public comments. We'll go on to approval of the minutes. We have several sets of minutes. I'll go to first one, which is the 3A, approval of the February 16th budget workshop minutes. Would someone
So moved.
please move? Thank you. Motion to approve. Is there a second?
Sure.
Okay, Mike seconded. Any discussion, any additions or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor of adopting the minutes of February 16th, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item 3B is adoption of the February 23rd budget workshop. Someone move that, please?
So moved.
Second. Additions or comments, are rather brief. Hearing none, all in favor of adopting the February 23rd budget workshop minutes, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item 3C, which is adoption of the March 1st regular, Selectmen's regular meeting budget. Someone please move those.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Comments, corrections, additions?
I have a comment. First of all, who's taking minutes tonight? I just looked over there and I realized Sarah's not here. So Joyce, you're taking them? Okay. I have a question about paragraph 3F and G. It says that,
Three-
yep, 3F and G.
Yeah, let's
under
just catch
approval
up
of
to you,
minutes.
okay?
It
3,
says action postponed by consensus.
Yes.
What does that mean exactly?
You didn't vote on it and you didn't table it. You agreed to just postpone approving those minutes. That's what you did.
It seems like we should have had a motion to table them then. I don't, because this is the first time that I've seen this, and I don't remember specifically.
that was the action we took, was
Yeah,
action to
you didn't
postpone
vote.
by consensus.
And is that,
And no
is
vote
that a
was taken.
proper legal action to
Yep.
take?
Yes.
Yep. That's for both F and G. Any other comments, questions? If not, all in favor of adopting the minutes as presented, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. And finally, item 3D, which is the adoption of the March 8th special meeting. And someone move those, please.
So moved.
Second. Comments? Hearing none, all in favor of adopting these minutes, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Under correspondence, in your packet, there's a letter that was received from out of Mansfield. It's rather lengthy, I won't read it all, but it is it's a letter from the town manager representing the town of Mansfield, in essence discussing the Greenway, Chadwick Greenway, et cetera, and basically supporting a bikeway connecting the Notch all the way up to the University of Connecticut. It's here. It'll be part of the record, be on file, if anyone's interested. And I'm going to put it out here if anyone would like a copy to look at it. Also,
What he read.
yeah, Barbara. Who read? Oh, no. No, we've got, yeah, the letter that you had emailed us out, and which is read into the record. And, let's see, you have another one that was from Danny Kennedy, yes. This is regarding the Bolton, annual Bolton race, planning ahead, and they're requesting the race date of March 12th, 2017. I have a retro mind here today. So, which would be the 39th annual. So, it would be appropriate to take action at this time to authorize the road race for March 12th, 2017.
About so moved.
Second. Comments, questions?
I'd just like to reiterate as a resident on the road race to ask them to be sure to notify all of those in the affected area through leaflet prior to the race.
Which I know I got this year. I think
This
they've
year we
been
did.
doing
Yeah.
a good job at that since we put that in.
Yes,
Yeah.
since we
We've had that,
insisted, yeah.
we've had that in every time, yep.
Yeah.
So noted, and so added. So all in favor of setting the date of, again, April 12th, 2017.
March 12th.
Jeez.
March 12th.
See, I had my taxes done
Today.
today, I'm still in shock.
I'll
Sorry,
do it.
that explains it, yeah. Anyway, March March 12th, 2017, with the caveat that Sandy had put in. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. That's it. Under unfinished business, we have nothing. New business on the Charter Oak Greenway, the study was completed. We did receive copies of that. Copies, anyone, we have one at the town clerk's office,
And one at the
one
library.
at the library, anyone interested in viewing them? And here it is at this stage of the game. What's still being worked on is the survey being done, trying to identify exactly where the state right-of-way exists along that 44 corridor.
Do you know if they've started yet?
They have started, I know, to the extent, I cannot tell you, but I know that they have talked to the town clerk about getting copies of different things.
They've actually, they haven't been out in the field. They're doing their preliminary setup before they go out. If no questions, Bolton Lake status, Lower Bolton Lake. Tomorrow night is our informational meeting. It is here. It is 7 o'clock. We invite anyone who's at all interested. It tends to be, if you've ever attended one of these, they're very informative. Dr. Nachman will be here making his presentation. A good opportunity to find out what's happening at the lake and what we might expect going forward in the future. Now, if anyone has any questions, but please, and Kim, since, yes, please.
Kim Welch, 51 Vernon, a lake commissioner too. Just current conditions of the lake right now. The color is green. The level is full. Clarity
Or
is
beyond full.
Yeah, yes, it's actually going.
flowing.
Lower Bolton Lake is going over the spillway at this
yeah.
point. The valve at the dam has been closed, so it's going over the spillway now. Prior to the rainstorm yesterday, it was going over by about 2 inches, so it's probably more than that now. Clarity isn't good. It's actually worse than it was at this point last year relative to the ice out date. And we're looking like
Right.
3 weeks out from ice out date. And last year's, the clarity was a little better, so clarity is not good. The meeting is tomorrow night, and I just wondered if you had any information on the catfish meeting coming up. If there's catfish stalking or any,
There's not,
any,
I don't know where that's going to go at all.
okay.
George and Chuck are going to talk as well.
On that tomorrow?
We're
Or,
going to talk prior to the catfish meeting.
okay.
That's all I know.
Okay.
We don't know.
I don't have any details on it.
No,
I
we have
just-
no details
In
as
an
to
email
what's
from
happening.
George,
Okay.
George said that he thought Chuck wanted to meet with him to talk about it prior to the meeting.
Okay. I guess I can relay from the Lake Association's meeting earlier this month that, as you probably can expect, they're hoping to not stock the lake. Their understanding is that there's plenty of fish in the lake right now, probably, honestly, too many fish in the lake right now. So for that reason, in addition to the others that they've addressed in the past years, I would just carry that forward to anyone that has the ability to communicate that.
I think they
to
made it
those
very,
folks.
very clear prior.
Yeah,
Earlier
yeah,
that-
they did, and I just came from a meeting with them a couple of weeks, a week and a half ago. So I would just reiterate their take on it, on that subject.
It's an interesting color.
Yes, I was just trying to point out to see if anyone here that had the green on has the right color
No,
green.
No, it's.
It's an odd color.
It is. I literally was out there this morning and
Yes.
No, no.
No,
No,
not
it-
one
it's-
here.
It's
Kind of one
much
of the
more, it's
blends.
Yeah.
much more toned down. It's almost like a
Yeah.
camel.
A green, yeah, an army green.
Right.
Yeah, an army green. That's where I would go with that as well. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Budget.
You have the expenditure report. It says through 3/31 because I had to wait they did accounts payable today so that I could do this for this week. That's why you just have it tonight. I got the information at 4:30 this afternoon. We are at 62.04% expensed compared to 65.25% expensed last year at the same time, but there's certainly things that are different in here. Last year, for example, the audit was complete, so 100% expensed. We're completing the audit this week. March 31st is the due date. So the highway certainly has not quite expensed to the same degree as they have in the past. So there's a combination of factors within the budget, but I can answer any questions.
If there are no questions, I'll move right on to this FYI 15.
FY
17. I like 15 better.
15 was
Yeah,
interesting.
I'm looking at this year's budget.
The Board of Finance continues its work on the budget. This week, they will start looking at the revenues. Just a reminder to everybody out there and here sitting in the audience that on April 21st at 7 o'clock at the high school is when the hearing is on the town budget. We did just at 4:46 this afternoon get word that the state did adopt a deficit mitigation plan that spared municipal aid from cuts current year, which we were being told that if there were grant monies that we had not received yet, that we were expecting monies in March, April, May, or June, to not expect them at all. And that is not the action that was taken. They did not cut the $16.7 million in municipal aid, so that is good news for us.
For this year.
For this
Well,
year.
yeah, that's-
Next year's a whole,
Those are monies that we've already budgeted in, so, yeah, it's the next year we're really concerned about. Anybody have any questions on that? All right. Now, on 6E, consider an act upon budget transfer and appropriations request. We have several, and Joyce, you want to just go through?
you have, for debt service, you have two requests. One is a transfer request within the debt budget from bond and note expense to redemption of bonds, long-term debt for the Bolton High School Bond 2. This is for $19,000. The result of both of these debt ones are the result of fewer Columbia students than expected. And on February 24th, prior to your March 8th meeting that you adopted the debt budget, we had received information on a shortage by the Board of Ed. Before I did these, I asked just to make sure, and I usually don't do that because the timing isn't even a month, but we dropped another $5,000 in that. So if you compare this to what we talked about at that March 8th meeting, this is a little over $5,000 more that we need now to fill that Columbia tuition 80% that goes towards debt service. That's what we're short. So there's one request for debt for the transfer, and then there's an appropriation request of $25,000. In discussions, this is just like last year in discussions with the chair of the Board of Finance. He wanted the option to be able to take this from contingency. That's why you see this done this way. There's $25,000 in contingency. That would require town meeting action as well. Do you want me to go on, or do you want to address those two first?
As well as what? The appropriation request requires town action?
The 25,000.
The
does.
25,000.
And so what you said as well, it sounded like there was something else that's going to need
No,
town
no,
action?
no.
No, it requires Board of Finance approval,
But not
but it
town.
requires town meeting approval
Both.
as well. not just Board of
Oh, I
Finance,
get it, I
but
see what
Yeah.
you mean, okay.
Yeah,
town meeting as
because it's
well.
an additional
One item,
appropriation,
though.
just the
One.
25,000, correct.
Correct.
The other one's just a transfer. So when we deal with those separately,
You want, okay, motion to approve the transfer.
and the appropriation request.
Why don't we do them
We're going to
separately?
do one,
Bob?
all right, do them separately,
Yeah,
okay.
so they're all
Yep.
nice and
Okay.
neat.
Is there a second?
Yes.
Thank you, I'm sorry, Sandy. Motion made second to approve the $19,000 transfer. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Okay.
Motion to request an additional appropriation of $25,000 in the category Bolton High School Bond 2, and that's because of the fewer Columbia students. There's a shortfall in the projected amount to receive for debt payment.
So moved. Second.
Comments? If none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
The next transfer request is in the Finance Department, $12,000 from regular payroll to other contracts. This is for the contracted interim finance director to finish the audit, and certainly, as we've talked about, that we need to have some transition period. Even though Jill is on board, she has not done the town of Bolton's budget before, and you can't come in and without having somebody helping you with this process.
And in this, when we sat down and worked this out, I felt we should have enough in there, so if Linda needed to be called on anywhere along this budget process, we would have enough funds to do that. So we may not expend them all, but I think it's important that we have them there, so we have a good, smooth transition and continuity all the way through.
And we've cut back on the hours, well, once the audit is done, which as of today it is, but we've made a cutback on the hours, but that has certainly added to getting this done, was all the audit hours that were required,
And how are we able to take it out of regular payroll?
because we didn't have a finance director.
That's still that fund that we had appropriated for a regular finance director, so.
So I make a motion to
Okay.
approve that.
Okay. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries.
And then we get to, tonight at about 6 o'clock, dropped off from the fire department.
That's why I didn't see it before.
Yes. 3,000 from repairs and maintenance to category uniforms and supplies for firefighter gear and fire police gear and safety equipment. And then $4,000 from repairs and maintenance to new equipment for the replacement of old equipment, hand lights on ET 334 and truck 134.
Oh,
Mike, can you explain to me what a hand light is?
it's a flashlight. It's
Okay.
just, it's one of the ones that you see them carry, usually with a big battery hanging
Okay.
below it. It's our
They-
term for flashlight.
And they charge.
Yeah.
They're
They have a
rechargeable.
charger all the
Okay,
time.
thank you.
They have recharges in all the vehicles, so when they go, they just
Thinking-
pull them out of the
Yes.
chargers.
It's just a fancy flashlight.
Expensive, fancy.
Expensive fancy, actually.
Yes.
Yes.
They take quite a beating, so they're a pretty good piece of equipment, but they are expensive. I'll make a motion, we approve the two of those together, since they're both for the fire department.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Subcommittee, we don't have any subcommittees report. Properties and facilities, well, I had the barn listed there, but we've had a pretty good, is there anything else you may want to, either Joyce or Sandy, want to add to?
I got a
the
question,
report?
since we're talking about facilities. Is there any plan to clean the lower level of the barn?
Define clean.
It has
Yes.
100 years of dust and everything built up down there, and some white debris and stuff are we planning in the long term to clean that up so that it's relatively neat to walk through there, is what I'm getting at?
I
Power
think-
wash it or something, or is that against the rules with this?
I don't think we can power wash it. I can tell you that John's crew has several times in the past 3 or 4 years gone down there and done a yeoman's job to clean the white stuff that the birds have left
Yeah.
behind.
But is there a
and to-
problem if it was power washed to get it right back to the bare wood, so to speak?
I would almost be afraid to power wash, but we can,
I know.
okay,
Sure. 2 minutes.
on rainy days.
So. Your
Okay,
answer-
I'm fine.
Okay.
I would just, the contractor is doing excellent work there from what
Yes.
we've seen, and I would just take this opportunity to make that comment too. And Sarah Nelson and Ken Workings have been very good about, staying on top of things and making suggestions as well.
Yeah, when I walked through there, I was fairly impressed with the workmanship they were doing.
Yes. While you're on properties and facilities, though, the lead certification for Bolton High School, BVH is still working on pulling together the information. They're asking for more details, as we talked about before, than had priorly been brought up. And when they sent forward the information to the architect and he reviewed it, he said, you answered question 1, but you didn't answer question 2, so you need to go back again. So we want this done, so I would rather have the architect do it than to waste all the time to send it in and have it sent back to us again.
Questions from the audience? Lead certification, what is the benefit of this?
The lead certification, I'm sorry, this is for Bolton High School,
Right.
that we need to have it lead certified as a project, and it requires submitting things to the Green Building Council
Right.
for approval, and
So why is it required?
that's part of now with a school building, you have to
state-
meet
when the state
certain
gives you
things
money,
because it has
There's always a
dollars
grab
attached.
for every give.
It was under my impression that it was, when it was built, it was supposedly pre-qualified for be a silver certification.
That is,
It's a
if we received all of the credits that were part of the design.
So now they
Now
review.
we're fighting over some of the details in some of these credits to get us there.
Good luck with that.
Thank you.
Because it's financially, if we get the credits we want, it's substantial to us.
You've mentioned how substantial, Bob, would you mention that again?
$600,000.
So it's a big,
And I
Well-
say substantial, up to. Let's take, the chances of you getting 100% is pretty slim, but in that category. So it becomes, the question is, all right, if, let's say we are 100% on target, that $600,000 is the state's issue. If we were zero, if we flunked at a zero, that 600,000 would be part of our debt service. So that's the bottom line. So having a good result on that is,
We cannot close out the project
Until
until
we
we
get
have
this.
the certification.
and then we can do our-
And then the state is holding that 600,000.
Right.
After the audit is complete, we either owe them more or they owe us 600 or more.
Besides the financial benefits, there's also the environmental benefits. Just so you-
Yes,
It stands for
yes,
lead-
but that's-
For the audience, it stands for leadership in energy and environmental design.
Right.
It's
Yes.
an excellent way to build green buildings.
That is why we went to some of the things that we did, the geothermal. That's why we did some of those things, because we had the funding to be able to do some of those extras at the time.
Regarding facilities, I just have a question from the Conservation Commission, as long as you're on the topic of facilities. We have stored a lot
If-
of our,
I-
sorry? Do you want me to get up? Okay.
Yes, but if this is what we've already talked about, Rod,
Rod?
we're good.
we're good on that.
Oh, you don't think we are? Okay.
No, you're good. We got you covered on that.
Okay, the commission has been kind of asking why we can't have a storage area in the basement. In this little cubicle here, we have what's called puller bearers. They're weed pullers. They're pretty good sized equipment. And to me, in an office setting, it doesn't really belong there. It's kind of a safety issue. We also have our kick nets for our rapid bioassessment of wadeable streams, which kind of sometimes get dirty. And we have a stack of earth machine composters in the basement already. So what the commission has been asking me to ask you is if we could maybe have a spot sectioned off down there where we could store some of the material that is up here, in addition to the earth machine composters.
As we talked before, we will move those items down there. You'll have to coordinate with John to get in and out of there because unfortunately, that is where our servers are, our security system comes, I mean, it's not just an area we can open up.
When I come here for my meetings once a month at 6:30, there's a gentleman here that has a key. And if anybody wants to buy an earth machine, we basically go around to the back.
Yep.
And it's worked pretty well.
Not an
in the
issue.
past, so
Yep.
I
Same-
just wanted to
same-
make sure you knew about that.
Same thing.
I promised.
Same
John
process.
That we would have.
And we know if something's gone, who to go after. Rod Parley, right here, you heard it today. Thank you, Rod. No, we won't come after you.
I just want to make sure you knew that we weren't selling all our earth machines as promised
Okay,
in a one-year period that you granted us.
okay. But you're certainly be happy to have anyone listening to this program to call and purchase one.
Thank you.
You got it.
That's part.
Revenue sources, well, we have one good revenue source. The state didn't take their money back that they were going to give us for this fiscal year. That's positive. On my report, couple of things on the school capital projects. On the parking over at the center school, that area, we've been out there looking at it and re-looking at various configurations, and one of the things they're actually looking at now is trying to get an easement off of the little corner to make a turn, which would mean we'd have to go back for P&Z. We'll have to redo that process again. And it might be some additional costs with that. So we're going to hopefully have, and I basically, we sent a letter to the school and actually emailed them and said, you know, we talked about a number of various ways of improving that. That's the little connector between the original school and the addition, where it goes through there. And so we've asked the school, what is your preference, so that this is a one-time deal. If this is what we're going to do, that's the way we're going to do it. So that's where we are.
They're talking as part of this, they came in with some ideas of changing the whole sidewalk on the other side right there too. And the school.
Yeah, we
And
met.
they had a multitude of ideas of how to change that.
We met with the
So-
superintendent, the principal, and a couple of members of the Board of Ed who were on that committee about 2 weeks ago. So after that discussion, a lot of ideas were tossed around, so we're waiting to hear back from them. And we may go that route, we may not, but that's making everybody aware of where we are. And we'll know certainly well before our next meeting. On the other project that we had approved, and that was that we had requested, and that was the funds for the replace of the asbestos tile, not replacement, but removal of the asbestos tile and the carpeting over at the center school. After we processed this, we were informed that they thought they could get a grant to remove the asbestos tile, which is fine. However, when they cost it out, it wasn't cost out at prevailing wage. So the numbers are going to be different. So we've asked for them to resubmit their numbers to it. Maybe, I doubt they'll be the same, but we were told that they were not submitted under prevailing wage, and that could be as much as 30% higher. So we may have to look at that again.
So that particular project, the carpeting has not gone to town meeting yet, so that's a good thing with that. We will not schedule that for town meeting until we know exactly what's happening, but obviously, It's going to involve additional costs. Even with the grant funds, you have to authorize the project total, and part of it may be paid by grant funds, but you have to authorize the total amount. So it'll have to come back through this board and through Board of Finance. The first one, the parking lot and sidewalks, obviously, those costs, if they do choose to go forward with these ideas, that will also have to, that has already gone through Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance, and Town Meeting. It will have to have, I talked to bond counsel at length, and that will have to go back as an amendment to everything, starting with this board and moving on up.
If it's, yeah, a substantial change in dollars.
And we'll have to do the 8-24 if they're making those changes. Right now, it was just a repair to existing, which does not require the 8-24.
So that's on the Board of Ed projects. On ED's economic development, if you've driven by, you know that Simonizer's building is substantially completed. They don't have a CO quite as yet, but very close to it. And then this summer, the spring and summer, they will be setting up their assembly line in that part. So we hope that by the fall, it'll be fully operational. And Gwen and I were over at EDC the other night, and we mentioned the project in the old drive-in theater area, which is a parcel of land that being looked at for housing, PUD housing, and the owners had done very recently completed their studies on the site for septic, which is a requirement by the sewer authority, so that they can determine how many units that would be allowed on that site as a sewer hookup. That has been done, and now it is, with that number, there's a potential buyer discussing with the property owners, see if they can make a deal. So that's where they are on that one.
How many units?
I can't share that because they haven't presented it to us. They just have done it, and I was informed they've done it, and now they're in the discussions. I've asked them to keep me abreast as much as possible, and so that's what I can share with you. Yes, a couple of things that I want to bring up with the board. Next month, we're going to need several subcommittee meetings. Personnel subcommittee, get together, we're talking about some modifications on how we use some of our personnel here at the town hall. Facilities as well. We have a couple things to go over that as well. And I just don't have enough information yet for another one, but we'll have several. We're going to be doing several subcommittee meetings. Unfortunately, we're meeting now. We'll have a good flow in that month to do all that. And Sandy, anything you're on, I'll wait till after the 15th.
Unless you can do it on Tuesdays in the morning.
Oh, okay,
I work from home on Tuesdays.
okay. And that's it. Joyce?
My report will be extremely brief. Expressway properties, I don't have anything new to share with the board at this point in time. They're still getting the information together. On personnel, the new second shift custodian, Justin Sanborn, started work yesterday. So he'll be working with Mark this week, and then Mark will be moving to days, and Justin will be the night custodian. So if you see a new face, that's who it is now. The Next Gen Connecticut Pathways to Yukon Eastern Gateway Study. We had our first meeting, and the first thing that we discussed was shortening the name. And it's going to become the Eastern Gateway Study, and then underneath they'll put in town names and Yukon under the banner. They're working at getting up a website and info that we can post. They're looking to hold informational meetings over the summer, April through July, maybe into August, having public meetings. At this point, one of the key things that has come up so far, one of the key words is rural character, which ties into what has been discussed already. So the technical advisory group does not meet again until September after the public meetings, but look for information in the Bolton Bulletin and on the town's website. As soon as we get links and things from them, we'll put them up.
Is there any opportunity for someone from our group to represent in that?
It was set up by Krog, and they have the bike ped already.
There are no volunteers from the community involved in?
Well, those are public meetings,
Yeah.
right? So I would think anybody should be able
Well,
to.
that's why they're holding them, so that they're being held specifically to get input from
Yes.
various interest groups.
Yes, and what they have is, like, Bolton may not necessarily host one of the actual public meetings because of our location. We're so small. Well, many people from Stores come here because Stores is obviously the main center. But they have a listing of all of the key major events in the different towns that they may try to have something there to gather information.
But Barbara, aren't you referring to these meetings that Joyce is attending?
Right,
Yeah,
that's right.
those are public meetings too. I
Yeah.
would think anybody would be, anybody's able to attend
Oh, yeah,
those.
yeah.
So Joyce, could you post?
I will check with Krog because I'm not necessarily sure that the TAC meetings are public meetings. The public informational meetings are, but they have bike ped representation on this technical advisory committee, but I will check and get back to you.
Okay, sure. And if there is an opportunity for anyone from the community to be involved, then
We have, actually, they asked for, specifically for 2 staff and a business owner or resident on that. We actually have Jim Cropley, who is a resident of Bolton and has his business right there. And he's
definitely an
actually
impacted
quite a
person.
bicyclist.
right.
Yeah.
So Jim Cropley is on it.
Okay, good. And again, if we can.
Yep. We'll keep, Barbara, we'll keep you abreast of what's going on so that you're, and anyone else too, so that if,
Did
I'm
Joyce-
sorry, I didn't mean to cut
excuse
you
me.
off.
Joyce, did you say those meetings have not been scheduled yet, the TAC meetings?
They,
They have not been scheduled?
we're not meeting until September now.
Okay, so when
It's-
those meetings, when that meeting is scheduled, could you let,
But there'll be a lot of hearings
That's-
prior to that.
it's-
They're going to be holding informational sessions throughout the spring and summer.
Yeah.
Those are the ones really you want to get, your stuff into them, I don't mean, but in the development stage, not at the end,
Right.
okay? That's for anyone who wants input, either for whatever. That's important. With that, you set?
I'm sorry.
We have no appointments. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? Somebody, please.
I will.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.